Second turn inside out. Beautiful move. Trying to get the shot on. He holds. He shoots. He scores! Absolutely.
The pitch. High fly ball center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall. Goal!
Roethlisberger gives it a lot of room here. Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races inside the 30, the 20, the 10.
That 10-year anniversary logo got me pumped up. Thanks to A1, otherwise known as Anthony Veltri, on the camera today. And we're ready to talk about Pittsburgh Sportsline live in the BP TV studio right here in the municipal building. Police station's on the right. We're on the left when you walk into the downstairs part of the building. Upstairs is mayor offices and admin offices and our great library. Just had to share that. Lower parking lot's good. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Smokin' Jim has a tradition of coming in about 38 seconds before the show starts. He's here. Chip Hayner and I have been discussing many other sports topics and other things, and his knee health. You know, he had a knee transplant. The doctor gave him a great bill of health.
Saw the surgeon on Friday.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. See, Smokin' Jim, unlike you, I don't have to tell people I'm honest. I just tell what we talked about. And now you found out I was telling the truth about Chip and his knee. And Nick Callis is announcing baseball somewhere. It's a mystery. He didn't say where or when, except he couldn't be here.
But it is baseball season.
Great
So,
point.
you know, I mean, so if you're going to make up a story, it's a good place to start.
Can you explain that to our notorious co-host, Smokin' Jim Frazier, who I still haven't met anybody that said he graduated from Gateway High. So we have our Carrick Phenom A2 here. Look at, he's all in black. He didn't put the fake Pirate fan hat that Smokin' Jim's been wearing for 3 weeks. And I'm not picking on him. I'm just saying, check the film. Or as the coaches would say, check the film. So you got to check that film in football. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. So honored to be doing this 10-plus years. This is our 11th year. And thanks for Facebook Live. I had to help A1 get us in on my Pittsburgh Sportsline page. So hopefully you're all out there. I can't see it right now on my phone. I got to get a second to stop and do it. Unlike Smokin' Jim, my laptop computer is on live at home. I do not have a Mac Pro. I have a Dell, and it works. Okay, we got some promos to do. Sorry. Smokin' Jim, I did that so I'd set you up. Between all of you, I hope we don't have any disclaimers today. Just share.
This is good.
We're not going to ask him what he's drinking. We have a great sponsor of our show. Let's see. A1 is on fire. Look at that close-up. Dave Cable, we got the flash pick. Like Tomlin wants flash plays, we got flash camera work. Olive Oil's Pizzeria sponsors us with an XL pepperoni pizza. A hoagie not cut in 6 slices today. I had to cut it up for us. And we appreciate them, and they sponsor our show. They're at Hillcrest Shopping Center. Can't miss them. They've been there for years. Great Italian food. Run into different people, and they go, hey, we've been going to Olive Oil's because of you. And I go, hey, thank you, and I'll tell Frank. So I met an older gentleman that has an upholstery business for cars on Milford Drive. His name is Rick, and Rick said he'd watch the show. Hello, Rick.
Tell Rick I may be throwing some business his way.
Well, I just know the street, and Smokin' Jim is
he
so
gonna get
challenged. Smokin' Jim's so challenged that I don't know if he can
Hey,
find
Rick, don't do
Milford.
the work unless you see the cash.
All right, back to Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Great Italian food, salads, you name it, pasta, specialty pizzas, wings. Wings are great, had them for years, and their desserts too. So check them out. Great place, and only 5 minutes from our studio, so Smokin' Jim can stop back there for something else. We end each show. Let's see what A1 does on this. It's a smaller thing. We'll see what he does for the close-up on. Let me see it. What's going on? Look at that great shot. We end each show with Stay Joey Strong. That's Joey Fabus. Before DIPG, after DIPG, below where you can't see that. And that's the flyer that I have. The Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation was founded by his parents, who lost poor Joey when he was 8 years old, right before his 9th birthday, about a month before he died from the brain cancer. They're trying to find a cure at the Children's Hospital. Dr. Gary is working on it, and they just reported that they're on the path to finding something that can possibly beat this cancer. So go to their Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer site. You can donate money. It's a 501c3, so it's deductible on your tax return. We won't mention smoking. We already beat him up already, and he's not depressed because any attention for him is 100% good. All right, A1 again. Let's see what he does on this little promo. Do the little pause. Look at how he pulled the close-up. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. He got that framed beautifully. Way to go, A1. 2600 South Park Road, right where the red and white trolley is. Can't miss it. They repaved their driveway in front. You can see the nice black asphalt. They sell bricks that they're going to be putting in that driveway for $100. So I got to order my Alan Levine, the talking machine, red brick for that driveway. So got to put that in there. And you can contact the Historical Society, go to their page. They're also, I'm on a hot streak, a 501c3. Whatever you do and donate is deductible. They have a great library. They have great service uniforms from the different branches. They got yearbooks for each year from Bethel Park. They have a community foundation, which I'm the trustee on, that we donated money right at the top floor where you can have events, graduation parties, weddings, etc. there. They got a dance studio and an artist there. And my favorite tea place, Reginald's Coffee. There's chairs outside. The Wi-Fi works, so Smokin' can come up with some idea. No, he can't. The Mac Pro's not working right now. He is. He's working feverishly with his 16 phones he has. He had to buy new phones so he could actually go online, supposedly, to work on his Mac Pro.
Yes.
And it's been almost a month. Unbelievable what goes on. If he weren't my BFF, I wouldn't even bring it up. But between us, I'll share it. I won't look at him. We're trying to get him motivated to do something with that. It's not working out. Next up, another 501c3. There's a B in Always Be Smiling. It stands for Bennett. He had multiple disabilities, had 2 kidney transplants. His dad, Dean, gave him a kidney. His mother, Kristen, and Dean, after he died at 16 and a half, started Always Be Smiling because they told me and other friends and family, Bennett always smiled. You never knew that he had disabilities, that he couldn't do a lot of things in life. But whatever he did, he had fun at it and had a great attitude until he even passed away. So that's over a year ago. We got him up to about 1,200 likes. I'm bragging a little bit, but thanks to all of you for liking their page. Even this past week, a couple more people liked it. So thanks to all my friends and family that have liked Always Be Smiling. It's just a great thing that they help other kids and children with disabilities and their families. So check it out. Look for the events. They have a bunch throughout the year. Next up, talking about kidneys. Here we get back to traditional size paper for A1. What's he got? Let's see if we can see Kathleen. Coming up. Look at Kathleen smiling at us. Kathleen Miller, I talked to her over a year and a half ago that she had kidney disease. It was a 17% function. Her kidney needs to go to 15% as it gets worse, where she can get a living donor. So we put this paper up for the past year or so, and she got a living donor. She can't tell us who it is until her kidney function goes down to 15 and she needs that living donor. She will announce who donated a kidney for her to save her life like my son did for me. By the way, it's Drew's 31st birthday today, so happy birthday to Drew. And he had a nice almond torte birthday cake from Bethel Bakery
Happy
that his
birthday, Drew.
dad bought him. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Drew.
All right, we got it, Big Drew. Hopefully he tuned in, but
I like carrot cake.
well, Smoking Jim, so do I. But that made sense because we're just talking about his
Go
birthday.
into somebody's garden and dig up a carrot. Okay.
All right,
And then we'll
let's-
buy you a cake.
All right, we got that nice shot. Let's see what. There it is. Uncle Sam, who's Smoking Jim, just found out who he is. Legendary U.S. character. And he's promoted buying savings bonds and war bonds and everything else over the years, Smoking Jim. And we won't discuss those subjects because he really didn't go to much school at Gateway. We want you for BPTV. 412-831-3304. Talk to Dave Cable. If you're in high school, seriously, you can learn how to run the audio, the video, the control room. You can learn how to do shows. And guess what? If you live in Bethel Park, you can actually be a host, a producer, and a founder of a show like I am called Pittsburgh Sportsline. So come on in, learn from Dave Cable. He's the only employee, and he's the director of BPTV. And he's taught Jonathan. He's taught A1, A2. Look, A2 stepped up to fill in for Nick Callis. And then we got Ryan, who's our quiet man. You know the movie with John Wayne, The Quiet Man, Smoking Jim. You don't know it, but Chip knows that movie. Legendary movie. He's our quiet man.
Because I remember John Wayne.
Yes.
Can you ask Ryan how Milwaukee's doing? I don't know.
Smoke. A little sidebar, no disclaimer, but there's an observation with Smoking Jim. He's a nice.
I'm trying to find out.
He's a nice, positive guy, but I have one question for him. How come whenever you speak about somebody else, you have a negative comment to make, especially if they lost the game? He's like a lawyer. No offense against my lawyer friends, but they're trained to ask questions where they know the answer. And Smoking Jim is far, far from an educated lawyer, but he only asks questions that he knows the team lost.
Could have been a paralegal.
You could have been no legal. You'd have been a
You
non-legal.
could have been illegal.
Yeah. I want to even know if you're a citizen of the USA because you haven't gone by your government name.
I voted.
You did not.
You get it out. He's a sick bird and illegal.
Yeah, you may not. And talking about Uncle Sam, if you haven't voted, go vote. You got a certain amount of time, 40-some minutes to go. And unlike Smoking Jim, who hasn't voted ever,
I was in line
hasn't
at 7
filed
a.m.
taxes for at least 20 years that we know of. I did research on it. Supposedly he had a legal job with a legal name with IBM for 18 years. I only found 15 non-witnesses, so I'm down to 2 more to find out if he's honest. Glad we got through that. All right, next up, another 501c3. Let's see what pops up here. Guess what? Wanted, Bethel Park groups and organizations who need money. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has grant money for you, $100 to $5,000. We've given out over $1 million in 26 years. Go to bpcf.org. Everybody except Smoking Jim with no computer. And he can't do it on his phone, which I don't understand. But that's another point of contention. And you can go there, check out their site. They do a lot of great things in the community, and they help your groups that are trying to make Bethel Park better. All right, we got the next thing up is what's on your mind, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at you.
you got to see.
Notice the
Levine.
lob I gave him. I gave
feel
him
like
the
that
lob.
5'2" wide receiver for the Steelers. He's a speedster.
And nobody going to catch him.
Nobody's gonna catch him. I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine.
Yes.
I would take a bite of my pizza, but I want to choke like the penguins. But hey,
Time out. I'm
I
not
love
gonna.
my Penguins!
I'm not going to get into what I wanted to talk about, but it was Penguins. Because for all you fans, this is a little teaser. That was the first game I saw all year where the Penguins played 60 minutes of hockey.
Yes, they did.
It was one of the best games that I saw all year. I don't live and die by who wins the game. Just wanted to share that with
black
you.
and gold.
And I'm actually a Penguin fan. Unlike Smokin' Jim, he doesn't know Penguins. He doesn't know Pirates. He knows Steelers. And that's what he's good at. So when he talks outside the box, I usually tell people, where's the box? With him, stay in your box.
Well, what's on my mind,
Hopefully not Penguins.
real quick, is curses. I don't know a lot about sports outside of football and boxing, but I know a lot about.
He admitted it, folks, first
I'm an
time.
expert on curses. Listen, in 1992, 30 years ago, the Sid Bream curse was put on the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Disclaimer, Sid Bream was on my show. He's a great minister. He had 4 knee operations, shouldn't have even been in the game, but they only had one other player that could go in. He stayed in the game, and Andy Van Slyke told Smokin' Jim's hero, Barry Bonds, to move in because he had a girl's arm. And that's why there's a curse by people like Smokin' Jim.
And then
Thank you.
In 2010, the Pittsburgh Steelers backstabbed one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League, Super Bowl MVP. The guy could return punts and kickoffs, former first-round draft pick, Santonio Holmes. I said Pittsburgh Steelers will never win another Super Bowl because the Santonio curse is on. And then, last but not least, I said it right here on this show. When the Penguins got rid of Andre Fleury, I said the Fleury curse is on.
He has a first name.
The Penguins will never, I don't think they've got out of the first round since they got rid of Fleury. They ruined the chemistry of the team. They got rid of a guy that they didn't want to pay, a guy that after just one playoff series would have paid his whole salary for the whole year, and the Penguins went cheap, and that's what happened. All 3 teams in Pittsburgh got a major curse on them, and that's what's on my mind.
Before he goes any further, I have to do multiple disclaimers. Any of you that follow the Penguins,
I did say that on this show about the
yeah,
Steelers
but
and the Penguins.
it doesn't mean you're right, and you're just made up stuff. And one thing that he's talking out of an area that we don't like to talk about on air, and he sits on it.
Voodoo.
Yeah, so they go near the cap every year with their teams, and they've even won a championship as recently as another year ago, and they've been out in the first round each year, and we've done it 16 years in a row. So I'm proud of that. I'm not proud that they haven't gone further. So Smokin' Jim's information is not even close to the truth, and any curse that he talks about, no offense meant to small-minded people, but they look for excuses to try to prove their point. I rest my case. Thank you, Smokin' Jim Frazier. And you can eat in peace now. Don't choke on that hoagie. Don't choke. Take another big bite. Don't watch your finger. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Well, good evening, everybody. And what's on my mind is the end of an era.
Great point, Chip.
The
Couldn't
end
agree
of
more.
an era in Penguins hockey. Probably for the last time we saw Chris Letang, Evgeny Malkin, and Sidney Crosby skate on the same team.
Yeah.
Malkin and Letang both are unrestricted free agents, as well as a number of other players. And some changes are going to happen to the Penguins organization. They no longer have Mario and Ron Burkle to fall back and
Chip, you took one of my points. When you have new ownership,
the good old boys club, the Fenway Group, is a group that's committed to winning, and
money.
And they have quite the coin to throw around. $27 million under the cap is freed up by the expiration of Malkin's,
Chip, can
Rust's,
you explain that to Smokin' Jim for 1 second?
Letang's contracts.
Means they can hire other players.
Well, they could hire multiple other players or
Thank you.
younger players.
Thank you.
Because
Faster players.
Evgeny Malkin has spent most of the last few years,
Yeah.
instead of as one of the top players in the league, as probably on the injured list more frequently than he's on the ice. So it'll be interesting to see. Now, to tip my hat to the Pittsburgh Penguins, because they were up as of last Tuesday when we was here, and I said I was wrong. I thought that they were going to get beat by the Rangers, and I thought they were going to get beat in 4 games. But the series changed on a hit that, I've listened to the experts talk about how they didn't feel that it was a dirty hit. But, in every other sport, blows to the head are forbidden, whether they're inadvertent or intentional.
Yeah.
Okay?
And Chip,
blows to the head are just taboo.
Just to interrupt. In hockey, that's the way it is too. They say.
Well,
they say.
And I'll touch on that.
Okay, because that's an important point to make.
So, the way the Rangers won the series is they took the most dominant player in the playoffs out of the, knocked him clean out of the game. He missed a game and a half. They had no answer for Sidney Crosby.
With the concussion.
The way he was playing in the first 4 games. They had no answer for him. He had 9 points, 2 goals, 7 assists. He was dominating every shift that he was skating on. And so what do you do? You cut the head off the snake, the body's going to die. And that's exactly what happened. They knocked Sid out of the game. Was it a dirty hit? Wasn't a dirty hit? Hey, it was a blow to the head. Blows to the head should be outlawed in the NHL, but then again, then they'd have to eliminate fighting in the NHL because that involves repeated multiple blows to the head, which, we're worried about people with concussion. And then they have a ridiculous rule where if your helmet gets knocked off your head, that you have to skate off the ice, which helped to the Rangers to tie the game against us.
We had to have
late
a player.
in the third period.
Letang came in.
But he was out of position.
Exactly.
He was out of position.
My point, yes.
But, but we're worried about people's heads getting injured because they don't have a helmet on. Yet we're letting players chicken wing elbow somebody right to the head, knock them out of the game. It's a league of hypocrisy. It's but
who's in charge of this? That's
former
my point.
players. Former players.
Yeah.
And so,
who's the head of it all? He okays it.
So it's sad to see what hockey is, and they wonder why hockey is what is considered a niche sport. It's not a major league sport the way football, baseball, and basketball are.
True.
That's why they don't have a major national television contract. Because like Mario Lemieux said 35 years ago, it's a garage league.
He's speaking facts.
And so
That's
subsequently,
coming from a non-factual guy.
Subsequently, the Penguins, that affected the way the series shifted. But in the last 3 games, and when Jim says that the Penguins choked, he's correct when he made that comment because in each of the last 3 games, the Penguins gave up leads and lost
2-0 leads.
In each of those games. They very easily could have played the games. Now, take into account the Penguins had an AHL goalie starting for most of the series, a third stringer who was never going to be a starting goaltender in the NHL.
Who won 3 games.
Tristan Jarry played Game 7 injured because after the game was over, he was seen limping around the locker room, and the only comment that he could say was, "I was okay to play." But he's playing on a foot that has a broken bone. How could he possibly have been 100%? But the Penguins still could have won that series. They didn't. An era has ended, and let's see what happens this offseason with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
No, you're smoking, Jim. It's a negative comment.
just
You
got
already
one
made
question.
it.
Sure.
You said choking too many times.
No, I'm not going to say that. Honest.
What negative thing do you have?
With the $27 million that the Penguins will free up, you think they'll hire a couple goons?
No.
No. Okay.
That's not the way to play the game.
That was just
Because here's what happens. One of the turning points in the series, Evan Rodriguez retaliated on a hit from somebody that checked him into the boards. He retaliated. He got the penalty. 5 seconds after he got in the penalty box, the Rangers scored and turned the tide of that game. Good point. So if retaliation is the way you think you're going to win the game, it's not. The way you win the game is bury the puck in the net, not the player.
I like
Okay,
them hurt. I like
score
them
more
hurt.
than them.
Well, he just made another comment. Well, the one on the choking is true, but the comment about him learning, he's been on the show over 10 and a half years. We're approaching our 11th year anniversary, and we were on Steel City Sports World with Ralph. So hello to Ralph, hello to Bill
My
Means.
man Ralph.
And Bill Means says Smoking Jim has a target on his head. He does every week. Tony from Chick-fil-A goes, does Smoking Jim, whose real name in education sports acknowledged unknown, pay taxes? No. And he said LOL. He doesn't pay it. And then thanks to Chief being on, thanks to Amy being on from the bakery, and let me see who the two others it's not
Well,
showing.
that's the reason why he makes his bets with Macaroni Tony.
Yeah. And Chief made a statement, Chip, you'll like this. Hockey does not protect their stars. So that's what's going on.
Truer words
Hence,
have not been
Smoking
spoken.
Jim knows about goons because he loves hard hits and concussions. Because look at the poster child for concussions.
CTE.
Hey, want to give Ralph a shout out for his wedding? He's getting married Saturday.
You can say it. You got the floor right now.
Hey, Ralph, happy wedding on Saturday. I wish I could be there.
And Ralph, I got to
You're
do
not
it.
going to be there?
No, I'll be in Harrisburg.
Well, Ralph, I had to do a disclaimer on Smoking Jim. The reason I let him say about your wedding, because I was about to.
Oh, thanks. I thought you forgot.
Smoking Jim, what do I forget?
Nothing.
Especially how you are.
You mean you didn't tell him you were going to come and then not show up?
I did say it, but then I'll check my schedule.
Prayers to our former volunteer Devin Shea and his beautiful wife Danny and their kids.
I was on my way.
We're not even talking about that anymore.
And you disappointed my wife.
I'm sorry. I missed it.
Yeah.
Can we go to A2 Smoking
Yes,
Jim?
sir.
Because
Yes,
do you have anything else to promote some of your nonsense? Because I'm trying to deal with facts this week.
This is so good.
And Chip, you outdid yourself on the facts. I'll add a little bit to it because I wanted to talk about Penguins because I'm actually proud of what they've done. And I'm actually proud of a goaltender who was third string. Me too. That was awkward, had trouble getting up and other things.
Spicy pork and broccoli.
And it became famous at all the restaurants in Pittsburgh. Smoking Jim's trying to find out where you can order some Chinese food with spicy pork and broccoli. And knowing him, he can't figure it out. So we're going directly to A2. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is definitely, the Penguins' season end with the 3-1 blown lead was very sad, but I am excited to see what the future holds for them when it comes. Like, they are going to lose Letang and probably Malkin, but sometimes turning a new leaf can be for better or worse. The team could be younger, faster, or maybe even do better next year, or they can do worse next year. Yeah, I'm hopeful as well. As long as they keep Sid and as long as they keep Gensel around, I do have faith that the team will be a solid team that will make the at least. I do see them making the playoffs as long as they keep those two around. They're very solid players. What else is on my mind is a recent tweet by a certain former Steeler, Antonio Brown. Said he wanted to retire as a Steeler yesterday, which I thought was very interesting.
Well, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's very. Knowing how sports are, he'll probably be returned as a Steeler. Do I think he should come back? No, but it's very interesting to see, to say the least. Like I want to see what they do with that. If he does come back as a Steeler, I'll find it pretty funny. Will I be excited? Not really, but I just would like to see what they do with that.
A2, here's what Antonio Brown is. If he's, he's defunct in a lot of areas, okay?
To say the least.
But
especially the brain power.
His people, he's supposed to be in town on Friday for some kind of a rap concert down in the South Side.
Oh, want to go?
Yeah, right.
It's the same time as the wedding.
Yeah, I'll be at the baseball game. But so he gets his name out on social media just to get it out there that he's going to be here.
Good point.
And I bet you fewer people were there than there are at, at a wake. But,
Good point, Chip.
but that's the only reason why that tweet came across.
Yeah.
Is now he got people in Pittsburgh talking about him, and I guess what's her name? Kanye
I
must be
know.
bankrolling this for him.
Well, maybe, and he has some problems mentally. So.
You think?
No, I know. Unlike Smoking Jim, I know the facts.
Yeah, I don't think he's what we need for exactly. We do
Well-
need another wide receiver maybe, but not until.
Well, one thing I could say about Antonio, he fits the rap genre pretty well because I could never understand anything he said in interviews. So, I guess that'll go real well with his rap.
Yeah. Hey, too, thank you for your input there. You're a great fill-in for Nick.
Yeah, no problem.
So I appreciate that. What's on my mind? Chip stole some of it. A2 stole some of it. So I'm going to try to condense some of it to make sense, unlike you know who. Oh, sorry. You do have a target on your head, especially when he says he loves all Pittsburgh sports.
I thought that was a do-rag.
Time out here. Time out here. All right, my point is we're spoiled in Pittsburgh with all the championships we've had.
Yes, sir.
We expect winners like Smoking Jim each time when they disagree with who we should draft. He gives a D draft, and somehow we've never had a losing season, and people in Pittsburgh are proud of it. Oh, by the way, Carol Doria, thanks for watching our show. We appreciate from Florida. She's actually watching us. And Bill Means said, Chip, you're too funny. Bill Means, thank you.
Thank you.
And,
I appreciate it.
Ralph said, thanks, Al and Smoking Jim.
That's my man.
You're our man there, Ralph. We appreciate you tuning in every week, even though you got shows afterwards or during. So I don't know how you do it, but we appreciate that. And to all of you watching it, my point in Pittsburgh about being so spoiled that we've all been part of these championships, many of them from the 70s. And we have record 16 years in a row that the Penguins have made the playoffs. We've had the Steelers, how many years, Tomlin's whole career, not a losing season. So here's what I call it, the dumbing down of Pittsburgh championships. We're happy to have winning records and no championships for the Steelers. In the last 4 years, they say we have experience. Well, when I hear national announcers saying we have experience in the playoffs, what have we done the last 4 years? We've been one and done, so our experience is to lose. 2016 and 17, we won championships, Stanley Cup. Smoking Jim didn't comment about it back then. He didn't realize our local team won. And he couldn't come up with anything negative. But that's another subject. So my point is, we need to shake up teams. Like the Steelers consider rebuilding a swear word. Mm-hmm. They've needed to rebuild when they lost Shazier, when they lost Troy. How can you replace Troy? I told a friend you need 2 good defensive backs. Not one, but you need 2. Because look what Troy did. He even became a linebacker at 5'9".
What do you mean? They drafted Artie Burns.
That's my point. Chip, thank you. And as I continue, A2 alluded to having the Red Sox organization like Chip talked about. They brought a lot of money in here. They want to have a winning team, and they're going to make changes in management. Sully may withstand the changes. He might still be the coach. I'm hopeful with that, but we need the changes. We've been so lucky here to have a core group of 3 players win how many cups? 3 cups as a group.
They went to 4.
Yeah, but they did win 3, and to do that. And then you can disrespect what they did. They had a 3rd string goaltender come in, and Chip said we should have been out in 4. I thought we'd be out in 4, and I'm an optimist. Mm-hmm. And I saw his play, and you can talk about how he isn't that good and he has these problems, but here's what I love about Domingue. He made timely saves and made many good saves at the right time. And the defense stepped up around him most of the time. And did he let in a couple easy goals? Yes. Did Letang had a percentage of like 70-some% of the time when they scored, the Rangers scored, they scored goals 70% of the time when Letang was in. Matheson, who I like as a tough, gritty player, and the whole team was gritty, he had 3 ricochet rabbit pucks off of his skate that went in. But I'm just saying some of the circumstances.
To speak to Letang, the only reason why as many goals were scored, Letang never leaves the ice. The guy is a machine. He plays.
No, I don't hold that against him. Smoking Jim, we know what color you are.
He getting close.
No, he's not. I used to get close, and I can't anymore. But no, Letang's on the ice most of the time, but I did notice a couple flaws with him. I didn't see him block a shot. He stood in front a few times, and they made a few shots right to the left or right of him. Like his skates were close, but I did see distinctly the ricochets off of Matheson's skates, and it was just his position. But like I was saying the whole time during the game, just stand in front of a couple of these Rangers. Like if you're right in front of them squared up, it's hard for them to make those passes, especially shots on goal. So be thankful for what we have. The changes are coming, and they're needed, just like we need it with the Steelers and their situation. We need it with the Penguins. 16 years is a great accomplishment, but we've been following in Detroit's path after they won a cup. Look what happened with Detroit and where have they been.
Well, Detroit went 25 years in a row.
Yeah. Only if it's negative.
I just got to go up trying to learn.
Like if it's negative, I'll try to help you get out of your negativity.
I was just wondering if Washington was still in it.
Who are they?
Ovechkin.
No, they got eliminated.
Capitals got beat. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
They got being sick.
Here's the problem.
Yeah, they didn't take it to 7 games either.
Really?
Yeah. And here's the problem with Smoking Jim. All of you that are Steeler fans, Penguin fans, you watch your teams because you like them. When he wears a Pirate hat, he doesn't like them. He bets against them. When he wears a Penguin hat, which I've never seen, he doesn't know what a Penguin is. And Steelers, I don't see him wear gear often, and he talks poorly of his buddy Mike Tomlin because he said something that upset Mike. Well, he's done that every show for 10.5 years with me. So we're going to move on. We're going to do some fiction and fact with Smoking Jim Frazier in 10 seconds. Let's go.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine, and I'm not going to talk this segment with you.
Okay,
you
we'll move right now to trivia time with.
I'm saying I'm not going to talk to you and Chip this segment. I'm going to talk to my main man A2 because A2 dresses like a black man. He got the swag. He understands us. He drives a car of a black man, and I think we can relate.
Hold it. I have to disclaim this. Because Smoking Jim said since I've been on the show, I knew more about black people than he does.
That's true.
So
But you're stubborn.
how could he change?
But you're stubborn. See, he's willing to reason with me. See?
No. Here's the thing. You don't give him a chance to reason with you because you got to make your point on why you think he's on your side with something nonsensical.
Well, I already know A1's on my side because we all believe in curses. And here's one
I disagree.
For A2. Well, that's why I said I know you and Chip are stubborn.
This is still my show. I disagree.
A2, there used to be a player for the Detroit Lions. Detroit won the World Championship in 53, 52, and 57. That's like the Super Bowl at that time.
Yeah.
They were the best team in football. They had a quarterback that was the best. He was the Tom Brady of football. He was the all-decade quarterback in the 50s.
Oh, I think I heard about that. He's the one that said that they would never win again without him.
Named Bobby Lane.
Yeah, I heard about him.
And they traded him to the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1958. And he says, you guys will never win a championship for the next 50 years. And Detroit's the best team in football. Here it is 64 years later. They still haven't won a championship. Curses are real. You guys better ask me to lift the curses. You better ask me to talk to Sid Bream and Santonio Holmes and
Smoking
Fury
Jim.
to lift those curses.
Smoking Jim, you wimped out when Sid Bream was there. You only talked about you believed in the curse. You never asked him to lift it because he never put it out there. He didn't cause or say there was a curse.
Well, see,
People like
here's what
you.
you don't know.
No,
and I'll
people
go
like
to Chip
you.
real quick after this. What you don't know is Sid Bream was with the Pirates in '91.
Why wouldn't I know that?
Well, you know that part, but here's what you don't know. The
I know that too.
The Pirates promised him a contract.
I interviewed
and
him.
then backstabbed him and got rid of him. He didn't even know they was
Smoking
getting rid
Jim.
of him. That's how curses start.
Smoking Jim, how can you remember this stuff so perfectly?
30 years ago.
No, on my show.
Mm-hmm.
We had Sid Bream at Duke's Rib House and Grill, and then I did a show that you missed. You couldn't make it there.
I couldn't make it
What-
in Oakmont.
at the Oaks Theater in Oakmont.
I couldn't get out the bakery.
He didn't even know where the bakery is. His GPS was off.
Yeah, he did. He wrecked his car.
But that's it. The curses is real. Don't you agree?
Smoking Jim.
Remember the curse of the Bambino?
Yes, that was real. Well, the Yankees paid $100,000 for him. So, and you don't even know what the Bambino did in his life. You know, you were under a picture with Bill Franciscus. Here's fans to show you what kind of sports baseball guy is. I think it's.
I'm a Negro League fan.
No, you aren't. You only read 17 pages. We take a picture under Babe Ruth at Atreus PNC Park. Me, Smoking Jim, and Bill. He's a large guy, plays, baseball and coaches baseball. Great sports guy. We're under it, and there's a picture. We take it, and Smoking Jim goes, Babe Ruth prays for Pittsburgh Pirates and their fans. Babe Ruth hit 3 home runs in his last game in Forbes Field, knocking one over the roof.
But he was playing for the Boston Braves.
Right. But,
Really?
Yeah. And that's a little known fact. He was hoping to be a manager, but nobody wanted to put him in there. So too much of his history caught up with him. But don't believe Smoking Jim on any sports but
They
boxing.
couldn't provide him
and
with
football.
enough hot dogs and beer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He could have been like Babe Ruth. So sorry to take that away from you with being with Smoking Jim and curses.
He agreed.
When? He didn't even talk. You didn't give him a
He
chance.
gave me the nod. That's the brother nod.
All right, we're moving to trivia time. I should have done this 5 minutes ago. In 10 seconds, trivia time with Chip. Shout out to Andre for watching, one of our friends, Andre. Thanks for watching us.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Trivia Time. And you know how I love to bring up things that happen very rarely in the game of Major League Baseball. Once again, Sunday records were set.
Wow.
The Cincinnati Reds threw a no-hitter on
Hold
Sunday.
back, Smoking. Hold
but
back.
They threw a no-hitter on Sunday, but lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates. The 6th time in Major League history that this has happened. What other Major League teams have no-hit their opponents and
Let's
lost?
hear. Yeah.
Hunter Green and Art Warren combined to throw 8 no-hit innings for the Cincinnati Reds against the Pirates Sunday afternoon. The problem, the Reds lost the game 1-0. After Green and Warren combined to walk the bases loaded in the 8th inning, a fielder's choice allowed the game's only run to score. And I happened to catch that part of the game on AT&T Sportsnet, and I had to chuckle. That made us wonder, have there been other teams to suffer the same fate as the Reds did on Sunday? Thanks to Major League Baseball, we quickly found out that was the 6th time. Surprisingly, while the Reds were the latest victim of this occurrence, they were the beneficiary of the first loss in a no-hitter back in 1964.
Wow.
This is the first one recorded. April 23rd, 1964, the Reds took on the Houston Colt 45s,
Wow.
now known as the Houston Astros.
Ask Smoking Jim if he remembers that.
45 starter Ken Johnson took on Red starter Joe Nuxall, the youngest player to appear in a Major League game. Johnson and Nuxall both went the distance, but Johnson held the Reds hitless into the 9th. Unfortunately, 2 errors allowed by second-year second baseman Pete Rose to score the lone run of the game as the 45s lost 1-0. Next one up, Steve Barber and Stu Miller were the next victims, pitching for the Baltimore Orioles against the Detroit Tigers, April 30th, 1967.
Wow.
Barber pitched into the ninth, throwing 8 hitless innings before walking the first 2 batters in the inning. Those 2 came around to score once Miller got on the mound via a wild pitch and error.
Wow.
Baltimore had a 1-0 lead entering the ninth, but unfortunately blew it and suffered a 2-1 loss.
And a no-hitter. Wow.
It would take 23 years for this to happen again. July 1st, 1990, New York Yankees starting pitcher Andy Hawkins threw 8 hitless innings on the road against the Chicago White Sox. However, the wind of the Windy City aided the White Sox in the 8th inning as 3 fielding errors allowed 4 unearned runs to score on Hawkins as the Yankees lost 4-0. 2 years later, April the 12th, 1992, Matt Young of the Boston Red Sox had location troubles despite holding the Cleveland Guardians hitless. He walked 7 batters on this day, including speedster Kenny Lofton, who scored the game's first run in the first inning.
And Kenny Lofton, what a player he was.
2 innings, 2 walks, 2 fielders' choices later, Cleveland scored another and went on to win 2-1.
What did you call Cleveland?
The Guardians. That's the name
That's
of the
what
team.
I didn't know that.
The most recent occurrence happened on June 28, 2008. The Los Angeles Angels pitcher Jared Weaver and Jose Arredondo combined to no-hit the Los Angeles Dodgers. Weaver allowed the lone run of the game to score in the 5th as he mishandled a Matt Kemp ground ball. An additional throwing error helped Kemp get to third base before scoring on a sacrifice fly. The Dodgers went in to win 1-0. Cincinnati, welcome to your moment in history. So 6 times a team was no-hit and won the game. The Pittsburgh Pirates were the latest beneficiary.
And Chip, I got to thank you
Good
for
job,
your
Chip.
optimism with the Pirates, because I appreciate it. You said they play an exciting form of baseball and they would lose more games than they win, and that's why Smoke and Jim can keep betting and losing. So kudos to the Pirates and winning, and thanks for the history on it, because you know I love the history. We also have a couple friends of ours. Marla's watching. She said good evening, and she loves trivia time. Amy from the bakery at Giant Eagle said
Thank you.
she loves trivia time.
All right.
I appreciate it.
And then Chief, got to say, great trivia chipper.
Thanks, Chief.
So we got the chipper bandwagon. Thanks to Joe Venero, who just had a birthday. So the birthday guy is watching our show. We appreciate all of you there, you know, watching our show and carrying on. And we got to do this segment. I forget what it's called.
Take 2 with A2.
Yeah, thank you. Take 2 with A2. How could I forget? I was distracted with so much controversy over on that side of the room. We're going to go to Take 2 with A2 in 10 seconds. Stay tuned.
Geno Smith will drop.
Well, welcome back, everybody, with Take 2 with A2. So, basketball, NBA.
Yes.
The second round was a very exciting one, to say the least. Milwaukee sadly got eliminated. I had them to win Game 7, but they sadly lost to the Boston Celtics. It was Boston was just a better team. They had a lot more scores and some really good defenders on the team. Jason Tatum is a whole nother level. I do see Giannis and the Bucks making it again to the playoffs every year. They're just a great team. Giannis is the next big thing.
Just to interrupt you, is it hard to repeat or not?
It's extremely hard.
Thank
to
you. I
repeat.
just wanted to put that in there, young puppy.
Especially
He's
when-
only 21 years old, and he knows that, and somebody at the other end of the desk doesn't acknowledge anything like that.
So what are your thoughts about Luka Doncic?
That's what I was about
And
to
the
get
Dallas
to.
Mavs.
Here we go. He's on fire.
The Suns were a the number 1 seed in the whole NBA. They were the best team in the league, and people saw them sweeping the first round against the Pelicans, which the Pelicans were not a good team at all. Their best player, Zion, was out. Their second best player, Ingram, was very heavily almost killing them in some games, so that was very scary in the first round. So you knew something was off about them. And then this round they were having trouble against Luka and the Mavs. The reason why I'd say this was more embarrassing than the game, the season 1 loss against the Pelicans, was because Luka was the only player out there really doing anything. That
Great
man
point.
is a
Great point.
He is a.
He's league MVP this year.
I thought it was Jokic. I heard Jokic got back-to-back MVPs.
I'm not sure.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But
We're not
let's
huge
find
on
out.
the NBA. My dad.
I'm pretty
may
sure it
rest
was
in
Jokic.
peace.
It might have been
He watched
Luka,
it
but-
religiously. Go
But
ahead.
Luka is a monster. He is going to be, in my opinion, the next big thing after LeBron. That man is
You're correct.
he's a scorer, he's an assister, he's a rebounder.
Did you hear that? He said
Yeah,
you're correct.
he's Luka's definitely going to be an MVP though soon. He is. They blew out the Suns in Game 7,
And
which
you
is
know what?
embarrassing.
He plays for my friend Mark Cuban's team.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I worked with him back in the 70s, Mark Cuban.
And one interesting fact I read about Chris Paul, who was the star of the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah,
He is 0-6 in his last 6.
I got a
Game
little
sevens.
choking problem.
Yeah, he's
His team will make it to Game 7, and he disappears.
every time he's up 2-0 against a team, he loses in the playoffs, which is most of the playoff series he's been in, when his team has been up 2-0 against a team, he's lost.
What's he, 37, 38 now?
He's like 36, 37, 38, yeah.
And somebody, I read a comment on social media that they said, Chris Paul deserves to win a championship. Well, then show up.
Before we leave your segment, Bill Means wants to know, I don't know if you can get a close-up, Jonathan, what is on your hoodie?
Oh.
Tell us.
Well, it's on my hoodie. It's a animal. It's a capybara. It's a South American rodent. It's just the biggest one. I don't know. I thought it was
I've heard of them and read about it, but I
They're
never.
just-
I saw one in a book that I read.
My
It's a
sister
black
made
thing.
my sister made me this.
Smoking Jim, did you
So,
ever hear of
it's
that
all-
animal?
it's like wart.
It's not. The disclaimer is, he pulled the race card out. It's not a black thing.
It's South American,
It's a black hoodie.
but it's a black.
And your sister made you wear it, or made that for you?
She made it for me.
I
She's
like
an
it.
artist.
I like it.
But she what was it?
What's her name?
Victoria.
Victoria. Thanks for take 2 with A2 dressing them up today.
Hey, just to respond to Ralph's question about when is Cuban going to buy the Pirates, try never.
I would love for
Well,
him
here's
to
the
do it.
question.
He's got absolutely no interest in it.
And here's the first question. When would Nutting sell the Pirates? You have to
Never.
have Nutting sell. If you're making $40 million at least a year, except for Smoking Jim, you're going to keep the team.
Cuban will win with the Pirates.
He doesn't want them.
He doesn't want any. He has no interest in him.
Is he gonna open originals?
We're gonna move on. We're running down to our last 5 minutes, and they kept me for last on location. Master Zhang, May 28th in Bridgeville. I'm going to be doing a show, filming an hour show with Master Zhang, who is a 9th degree Taekwondo master, and he opened up. He's out in the North Hills in Wexford, and he opened another studio or dojo in Bridgeville. I'm honored to be doing a show at 1 o'clock on the 28th of May.
Is he going to be breaking boards over your head?
Well, a little teaser. Here's what he said. He goes, "Hey, Talking Machine, would you be willing to learn to break a board on the show?"
Really?
There's a tease right out there. I got to learn.
Oh man, are you serious?
I'm up to the challenge. And he said if Smoking Jim would be there, I would teach him. And I said, he didn't even want to do a jogging horse. He held his breath for 5/8 of a mile. So we're not going to do that. But that's the tease when I'm on location. I'll try it. I said, even if I break my hand, I'll do it. He goes, we'll teach you how to do it. And I'm looking forward to that. But on my on location, since I got the floor, I was pitching a pretty good pitcher in Pony League, and when I played, and I had a no-hitter. We only played 6 innings at the time, and I had a no-hitter going into the 5th inning, and I was losing 3-1.
Wow.
There had been like 6 errors in the game. I had a couple walks, and I only had like 9 strikeouts, so I must have been doing something right. But we had some issues with some players. I won't talk poorly that they couldn't catch a ball, couldn't throw a ball into the right base. So I'm losing, and I'm throwing heat. I just knew how to throw hard curves, sliders, fastball. And I was actually praying because they put no hitters in the game. And I go, I don't want to, Chip, you'll like this. I go, I don't want to be a pitcher pitching a no-hitter, losing a game.
Wow.
I remember saying that as a 15-year-old.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, because being in a newspaper family, I'd hear about it. My dad would bring the Post-Gazette home when it'd be in there. So finally, somebody hit a little bloops single that one of my outfielders missed, and it become a double. And I lost the game like 4-3.
Wow.
And didn't give up a no-hitter. That's my no-hitter being on the bad end of a no-hitter.
Congratulations, huh?
Yeah, well, it was a one-hitter.
Yeah.
So I made it.
One-hitter.
I wasn't proud of it, but I always enjoyed pitching.
Wow.
And Smoking
Me too.
Jim, I didn't have to win all the time. And you don't know what it's like to be a pitcher pitching a no-hitter.
That's a good pitch.
He was never a good pitcher. He was just a glass of water.
Right, right. No, that's good. Hey, Amy's giving us an update.
That's good.
And she goes Pirates 0-0. And let's see who else. Says Chip Hayner's watching our show too, so that's a
There you
bonus.
go.
He's there. I want to thank everybody for watching the show. A2, thanks for filling in again last minute. Here's what's good. He's a 21-year-old coming up superstar. He doesn't get any notice, and he goes, I don't know what I'm going to say. I always ask him, does he watch sports like us? So begrudgingly, he watches sports. Look at the insights he gave on NBA again. He had Smoking Jim pumped up in a negative way. So that worked perfectly.
He knows more about black people than you do.
Here, I give him my hat. That shows how fickle my BFF is. He's unbelievable tonight. Can he hit a newer low? He just goes lower and lower. That's all I can say. And Bill Means has a disclaimer for Amy. It's only 1 inning. So we appreciate some of that humor. But Bill, they want a no-hitter. So you never know what will happen in baseball. We appreciate all our sports. It's been another great season for the Penguins, but as I said, Smoking Jim, you're no Vita Blue.
The end of an era.
Yeah.
The end of an era.
It truly is the end of the big 3. Sidney Crosby, Chris Letang, and Genny Malkin. So, and you could tell Malkin's about a step behind what he was. He's had 2 major knee surgeries, and it's affected his game. Every once in a while, he had a couple good goals, but he didn't have enough. And like I always say, when we have a power outage, we need the scorers on the team to score. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have that happen. All we needed was another couple goals. So,
or stop a couple of the softies.
Yes, always. Any last words? A2. Take 2 with A2. Say goodbye.
Well, the round 3 starts for the playoffs for the NBA today.
That's what we needed, something optimistic.
That's exciting.
There we go. And again, thank all of you for watching our show. We appreciate the great feedback.
I'll be at the Ball Yard Friday and Saturday.
Check out
watching
Chip
the
Hayner
Buccos.
and Stephanie on Facebook. They always put the greatest pictures of where they sit. And stay Joey strong.